Often referred to as the queen of Facebook, our guest today is widely known as the premier Facebook marketing expert and a top social media thought leader. She is an in demand keynote speaker, dynamic live webinar host, savvy social media strategist, and popular brand ambassador. She is the author of The New Relationship Marketing and is also passionate about the human design system to help businesses and brands grow in a much more authentic, impactful, and successful way. Welcome to the show, Mari Smith.
Thank you so much, Jen. I am happy to be here and looking forward to our chat.
Me too. And this really is a full circle moment for me when I was brand new to online business and digital marketing. You were always a voice that I could depend on to guide me in the right direction. And now, all these years later, you are still here as a voice that we can trust. And I think that's because you are just so consistent. Your consistency in this space is absolutely extraordinary. What,
Wow. Hmm. Thank you
what,
for saying that. It means a lot.
I mean, is it an illusion or are you consistent with your content creation and showing up and all of that?
I'm pretty consistent. But to
Yeah.
me, I think sometimes it feels like I want to do so much more. Like I don't post that often on LinkedIn, and it's always bothers me. And I'm like, I should do, and my mind's always talking to me, going, "Come on, you should do more on LinkedIn." But Facebook's my jam, right? So is Instagram. So
Yeah, Facebook is definitely your jam. How did you get started in Facebook and social media in general?
in general, I mean, the short story is that for many, many years in the early days of my career as an entrepreneur in the United States, because I emigrated from Scotland in 1999, and I had these two loves, these two parallel loves. I love relationships and like studying behaviors, what makes people tick. And then I actually got trained and certified as a relationship coach. And so I was teaching classes for singles and for couples and doing counseling or coaching. But then I also had this other aspect of me that's really technical. I'm very techy, very internet savvy. I love doing marketing, internet marketing, building email lists, that kind of thing. And in 2003, I had my first ebook was about email marketing. And then fast
Wow.
forward to about 2006, it was probably was 6 or 7. I had a mentor at the time, excuse me, saying, Mari, you can't have these two paths. Pick one. Are you the relationship gal or are you the tech, email marketing gal? And the very next spring, it was May the 4th of 2007. It was Star Wars Day, right? Star Wars Day of '07, a very auspicious day. It was right around, I know we might touch a little bit on human design, but retroactively, I learned about myself. It was right around my 40th birthday, and I took on a new frequency, a new kind of like energy theme, life theme, which was about contagion. And it was just about evangelize. It was like exact timing, the exact moment. It was
Wow.
like written in the stars that I was meant to join Facebook when I did. And within 3 weeks, just basically telling everybody I knew on the planet, you got to get on this thing. Are you on Facebook? Let me show you how. And it was as if my two paths fused and became one, the whole love of relationships and the love of tech and marketing and reaching people and connecting through technology. And so, yeah, the rest is history, as they say. I'm coming up on my 18th anniversary, which is
Wow.
astounding to me. Since I
Wow.
left school in my teens, it's the longest I've ever stuck with any one career.
Well, it doesn't feel like a career, right? It's like fun. I mean, I know it's a lot of work, but I mean, doing what you love, it's true what they say. It's like, what is it? You won't work a day in your life if you do
Yeah,
what you love
exactly.
or
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
So how did you get the attention of the big Z? I mean, and when?
Well, I want to say a little bit here and there over the years, and somebody started. I think it was Mike Stelzner, the founder of Social Media Examiner, and I first met him in 2008, and that really helped him launch. I was one of his original fire starters that helped him launch the whole social media online. First he did it online, and he moved to the live events, and then the Social Media Examiner. I just was a guest on his blog for the 10th time or 12th time or something. I said I'm the most frequent guest. I think I go on once a year. And so so let's see. Sometimes I lose my train of thought. What was the question?
Mark Zuckerberg, like how did you get on his radar to become, because now you're affiliated with them, like I mean, I know you're not employed by them, right? But you
Yeah.
are affiliated with them.
Well, they've hired me as a contractor many times over the years. Specifically the flagship year, if you will, was 2015. And they hired me to go on tour basically around the United States and do several cities where I was their main headline, speaker, teaching small businesses, local small businesses, how to start using Facebook. And those were fun events. And then I've also worked with them with their blueprint, helping them with the curriculum that's their free training. Some of it's paid and people can get certified and whatnot. And then now, more recently, I work with what's called their Meta Megaphone platform or program, which is really helping get the word out about new features, their ads, AI inside of ads, and all those kinds of things. Real fun, quick sidebar. I have met Mark Zuckerberg's sister many times. Randy, he has three sisters, but Randy Zuckerberg, lovely lady. We've shared the stage. She's a former Broadway performer, so she often sings at her keynotes, and really nice. And I never forget this one moment where we're in like a little VIP room after party or after event, kind of Q&A, live Q&A. And she comes up to me and she's like, Mari, I want to say it was like Budapest or something like that. So I was just talking to all these women and I was overseas and they're all coming up to me going, do you know the Queen of Facebook?
Oh,
She she
that's
says to me, you've really made a name for yourself. And I just
what a
thought,
moment. But from the outside looking in, I mean, that's 100% accurate. You are the queen of Facebook. You're as much the face of Facebook in my world as Mark Zuckerberg himself. I mean, it's synonymous because when I was learning Facebook, there you were. Um,
yeah.
so this is probably a good time that as of the time of this recording, there were two big pieces of news with Facebook. One,
Mm.
I wanted to get your opinion, if you have one, on Mark Zuckerberg ceasing to do the fact checking on posts. And then the other piece was, which I haven't seen with my own eyes, I just keep reading about how they are creating avatars in our likeness and showing them to us in our as ads in our news feeds. And like, why are they doing that with AI, with Meta AI? Why are they doing, like, what is the thing behind that? And do you have any thoughts about that? So I'll just leave
Wow.
those two questions there.
Two huge questions. The fact checking, let's address that first, is very, very timely. Yeah, I do have an opinion. I always have an opinion, so whether I share it or not, right? But yeah, I was just recently posting about that. The whole ceasing to do the fact checking is supposedly is in the name of allowing more free speech, more free expression. And it's very political. I mean, unquestionably politicized, even though like, oh, they were trying to like reduce the amount of political or civic, they call it like civic content. And if we look at like the downside of having their pretty sophisticated programs in place that highlight content and or accounts that shouldn't even be on the platform, so many times people get very, very innocuous, bona fide pieces of content taken down and then even their whole account deactivated. And it was absolutely just something harmless. And
Mm,
so now we're going to see less of that, which is good news.
mhm.
On the flip of that, we could start to see. I was joking the other day saying to people, get ready for an even bigger hot mess. This is going to be a big steaming pile of hot mess because you are going to see all kinds of potentially pretty heinous things in your feed. Possibly, we'll see. Supposedly, they have safeguards in place that for the really strong breaches of their terms, those will get immediately taken down. But then for the more minor breaches or inappropriate stuff, they're going to rely on us, the users, to report that. And so they have this new feature that is totally, even Zuckerberg mentioned it in his little video, his 5-minute video, that it's absolutely the same as my bad, turn off notifications. Um, it's the same as they have on X. They've copied the exact same where it's
Yeah, the
community
community
notes.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah, so people can add feedback, they can upvote, downvote. I suppose that's what made Reddit so popular is that whole, community feature. We'll see, Jen. I have grave concerns about this. It's clearly a political move. I mean, how can Zuckerberg go many years ago from, and I won't even say his name, but we'll just use his initials to from banning and blocking Mr. DT to now whining and dining and contributing $1 million to the funds and like complying. Sure, we'll lift our fact checkers. Sure, we'll just make it open and free and and maybe it'd become too woke. I don't know, but it's going to be an interesting ride. I say to people, buckle up. This is going to be a bit of a roller coaster. A lot of folks I saw in my feeds, you probably did too, Jen, were like, that's it. I'm leaving. I'm shutting down my Facebook. I'm going to Blue Sky. And other people were like, woohoo, yay, finally.
Yep. Yep.
Very mixed.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm wondering, speaking to the innocuous stuff that got taken down
Yeah.
and how annoying it would be, like just so many little things like that we aren't allowed to do. And I know, like, a lot of clients back in the past when I would do Facebook ads for them and stuff, if we had any weight loss experts, right? And like you weren't allowed to show, you had to be very careful talking about weight loss or any health related stuff. Is that going to be a free for all now? Are people just going to be able to go on the, like, on the whole other side of that and then be grossly, um, ad- advertising just in your face blatantly?
Not for ads. Fortunately, Jen, there are some safeguards in place with the ad side because I guess this probably has been a long time in the works. This whole like removal of fact checkers and basically making it a free for all. But meanwhile, something that's also been coming in, waiting in the wings, and it's now being deployed as of January 2025, is really clamping down on what they call sensitive categories, and health and wellness being one of them. And so you're going to need to, if you're advertising with some of these sensitive categories, you're going to need to be complying with the tighter rules around that. But then on the organic side, it's like, well, what? Wait a minute, we can say whatever the heck we like over here, but we have to be more compliant
Right. Good
on
point.
the paid
Right.
side.
Hmm.
Who knows? It's going to be an interesting path.
I remember, I know what I was thinking of when I was thinking of, like, what was that thorn in my side and all of our sides? And it was back when you could not have a graphic with too much text on it.
Yeah,
And so
20% rule.
we would just, yes. And you had the tool to tell you if you had enough text. And we've gone from that to this. And yeah, very interesting times. All right.
Now,
Well,
now, now, by the way, they'll take your money. They'll happily take your money. You could have an image that's absolutely covered in text.
yep.
But I want to address your AI avatar thing
Yes.
as well. So I have it's really interesting what you described that they're taking our likeness and using it in ads. I have not seen that. I don't think that's quite the case. I'll have to investigate further. But what I have seen and heard, and was just even listening to an AI podcast this morning, it's it's quite frightening what they're doing. It's they're creating like AI accounts, um, potentially like AI influencers, but certainly like just like what we would call fake, right? It's basically a fake account interacting with other fake accounts. And for what purpose? To goose the algorithms, to pretend like they've got more engagement, to
Right.
encourage people to engage more, to make it look like there's more content than there really is. It could be, and in this podcast, it was actually Paul Reitzer, the founder of the Marketing AI Institute, and he was like, is it maybe they're doing this because it's like a legacy platform, Facebook in particular. Instagram still feels very relevant, but Facebook struggles year after year to just stay relevant and keep enticing the younger and younger generations because they need them. They
Right.
need them.
Right.
But it's like, well, wait, what's the point of having all these fake AI created accounts in here? And apparently some people had discovered there's been some already infiltrated since 2023. And so I don't know.
I
We got to
wonder.
stay vigilant, Jen. Stay vigilant. What were you gonna say?
I wonder, as you were talking, I was thinking, like, in terms of like what could possibly be their point and how could that be, like, because, we certainly don't need more fake content, more, but do you think it's a way to push us into using, even though those are personas that they're creating,
Mm-hmm.
that they want to get, because they tried so hard to get us to use the avatars,
Mm-hmm.
and they so much wanted us to engage with the metaverse,
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
and now the Fediverse. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so maybe introducing us to these things and getting us used to interacting and engaging is one step closer to us adopting them ourselves, so that we can then move over into the Fediverse and and VR and AR and all that. I don't know, just a thought.
I think you're onto something. Jen, I'm right there with you. I've had these same thoughts myself ever since they've been really pushing and pushing and pushing the avatars. And I like some of the previous versions better. I think the avatars on Facebook and Instagram, you can do WhatsApp. I don't think they've brought it to Threads yet, but they're not as strong a likeness, but they're more 3D-ish. See, they were a bit flat before. Now they're more like you see, even like in Messenger, I love sending the wee dancing lady to people.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
spent a whopping $2.99 on my red dress. I forget what
Oh,
designer it is,
that's
but
the beginning. That's the gateway drug, Marty. You're gonna be
yeah, that was a few years ago, but I'm like, I'm never taking this dress off. But I think you're absolutely onto something that it's like it was too big a leap in what was it 2020 or whatever, but where this whole metaverse was just being pushed on us. People were like, no way, we're never gonna like walk around with headsets on and not have real interactions. But it's just this creep factor, right? It's like
Mhm.
creep as in like creeping up on you.
Yeah, in both senses of the word, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought as soon as I said the word, I'm like, yeah. So then, yeah, it's like, oh, one of the things that they're really encouraging right now, they went meta, is to do these imagine yourself in a field of strawberries, imagine yourself in a floating in a sea of unicorns. And what it gets you to do is you have to, and I haven't done it myself, that does creep me out a bit, but it's like take a selfie, face on, right, back, left, so it's getting this nice full 3D visual of you, so then it can make a more believable avatar. So yeah, I just feel there's a lot of insidious agendas going on here, including back to the fact checking thing. We gotta stay smart here. People, you gotta trust your gut, trust your intuition, read between the lines, do your own due diligence. Don't take anything at face value. I mean, we gotta dig our heels in here.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. All right, so a lot of our listeners are um, marketers or people with online businesses, and they're very much dependent on social media and still Facebook for getting the word out and helping to grow their businesses. What would you say is working right now? Like,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah. I tune into Gary Vaynerchuk from time to time, longtime industry friend of mine, literally since the early days of '07. And sometimes I
he
go
was
through,
my first podcast guest.
he was your first guest.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. That's so cool, Jen. He's very just down to earth, and he's
Yeah.
also got his finger in the pulse. He has an agency with 3,000 employees, and I want to say off the top of my head, it's something like 120 of which whose sole job is to simply study all the social platforms, including like Snapchat and probably Blue Sky now, but all the main ones, and see like what is working, right down to the color of the font and the size and
Wow.
like the thumbnail and what people are clicking on and engaging with and in topics. So one of the things that Gary's really beating the drum about now, and I am absolutely right there with him, is that there's never before been a time in the social media arena where, in essence, the playing field is completely level. It's not about more followers. It's not about chasing those coveted followers, which is really a public facing quote vanity metric. We're shifting away from the friend graph, or we could even call it the follower graph, to the interest graph. And this was something that really TikTok pioneered. They're really, sophisticated algorithm that knows you way better than anyone on the planet, and it can predict with incredible accuracy what you might like to see in your feed. Well, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, absolutely the same. I think the algorithm is similar on YouTube and LinkedIn even. So what's happening is you publish a piece of content and you want to start paying close attention to your non-follower metric. Okay, you go in and you see, and there's views. It's a unified view now. Before it used to be all these different metrics. Views have replaced impressions. You got this unified view, a unified metric on both Facebook and Instagram. So your video view on Facebook used to be 3 seconds. It's now 1 millisecond. Same as
Wow.
on Instagram, and that's what Reels are. Reels have always been 1 millisecond. It's just the nanosecond that it's on the people's screen. So you think about it. If you have an account which is 50 followers and someone else has 50,000 followers, but you create amazing content, it's relevant, it's topical, it has a great hook, it has a great thumbnail, it's probably a vertical video, it's short, it's consumable, it's highly shareable. People hit that little airplane icon on Instagram and they share it with all their friends in the DMs, which is one of the top metrics that Adam Mosseri keeps talking about. Now you have just as much chance to have a quote viral piece of content, whether you got the 50 followers or the 50,000 followers. And plus, one of the things that Gary Vee often really is beating the drum about is, brands, agencies, businesses of any sizes, you now have this opportunity to really test your creative for pretty much no cost, no to low cost, seeing how the algorithms, seeing how the people respond to it. Then you put your ad budget on what you've tested for free.
Let me ask you about that because I haven't played with that yet. And I know it's a little toggle switch that I've seen and it says like test. But how is that different than just sticking your content out there? Because that's a test in and of itself. Like either people like engage with it or they don't. Well, if I put tests on it, or is it like you secure it with your credit card, you don't pay anything, you let it run out as a test, and then it starts charging your card or something? Like, is it done through the ads platform or is it done?
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. So this is on Instagram, fairly recent. They introduced something called trial reels.
Yes.
Trial
Okay.
reels, and it's a little toggle. It totally is, and I think it's off by default, so you can put it on. And I'm positive it will come to Facebook because that's usually what they do. And what it does, it takes your reel and it will go and it will show it first to non-followers, 100% non-followers. So people that have never heard of you, haven't come across you. Maybe they have heard of you, but they just don't follow you. But generally speaking, it's going to be people that just never come across you. But because of the incredible sophistication of the algorithms and the AI and machine learning, it's going to go, okay, all these people over here. And now you can decide as the creator within about a 24-hour period, wow, that one did really well. Flip the switch, and now we'll show it to followers as well. And it can carry on getting reach. But I think also what you might be referring to is like the A/B testing feature. They have it for free in Meta Business Suite that you can A/B test posts on Facebook. And certainly, anytime you're doing anything with Ads Manager, there's always going to be a fee. But they automatically they'll call it like when you're first running an ad campaign, it's going to take probably as much as 2 or 3 days, and it'll show you in learning phase. It's in the learning phase. You don't really want to tamper with it until you've got that learning phase complete, because it's testing by itself
Mm-hmm.
all of these different possibilities of placement and audience reach. And also, just one more quick thing on that too, while we're talking about it, is the Advantage Plus audience. Anytime you see Advantage with the B plus sign, that's Meta's AI at play. And there's lots of them in Ads Manager, one of which is called the audience, Advantage Plus audience. So you can tell it, these are some suggestions. I'm looking to reach, women age 52 or whatever, early 50s in this particular, Northern California, whatever. You've got your specifics and you're saying, those are suggestions. And what it does is it goes out and it's like, whoa, you didn't even realize, but there's men in their 30s are actually a target for you as well. I'm making this up, but and not really. I'm drawing from one of Meta's examples. They had like a baseball cap company, and they were showing you how if you broaden your catchment area, there's all these other possible avatars that you didn't even think about, but they would love to buy your product.
So
So anyway.
would you say that lookalike audiences, uploading like your existing customer list is probably even that much better than it ever was because of
Yeah.
AI?
Oh, big time, big time. 100%. I would say, and especially because email marketing is mm, more and more of a struggle these days for people to really get their emails at the top of the inbox and in the primary folder and, opened and read and clicked. And open rates are not as accurate a metric as you and your listeners may or may not know, but it's like we want to really more focus. It's a good benchmark, but you want to really be looking at the click rates, the click through rates. I love following Jay Schwedelson. He's a founder of
Okay.
subjectline.com. He's a guru on the email site, and he's funny too. I just really enjoy listening. He's a real funny guy. But yeah, so email. So the point I'm making though, just to close that loop, is that because it's tough to keep that retention rate high on your email subscriber list, you want to keep like scrubbing it, keep it clean, and utilizing anytime you get new leads and customers, maybe once a month or something, that you're going ahead and creating those custom audiences in Ads Manager, assuming you're running ads. And then from there, like you just mentioned, to broadening that with the lookalikes.
Okay, great. And do you have any information about when, if ever, we'll be allowed to stream inside of our groups again, and why did they take that away? So,
They won't bring it back. They took the API, right? The application programming interface. They took the API off of groups. My best educated reason gas of as to why they did that was something to do with privacy, because you used to have like third party tools could schedule in there, and then they had third
yeah.
party tools for analytics, and there was something to do with, because there's some groups that are really private, or even the ones that are private and hidden, they used to be called secret groups. And
Hmm.
so I think what Meta did is they just drew a line in the sand, like, that's it, we're not going to allow any apps whatsoever. So the good news is, for streaming, you can absolutely still do that. You just have to use the live producer and get that little key, um, and just set it up in advance. Really easy to do on Zoom once you've done it once. But I know a lot of people use like StreamYard, or there's Ecamm. You can use any streaming third-party app you want, and still totally stream into your groups. Just a little bit of tech know-how, and off you go.
Well, I'm so lazy that I'll do like I stream, use StreamYard, and I'll stream to all the places that it allows me, LinkedIn and Facebook page and YouTube,
Yeah.
wherever else. And then from my Facebook page, my team will just, once I go live on the page, share that into all the
Sure.
groups. So
Sure. Yeah, that's
that's
the way
our
to do it.
shortcut.
And
So,
may I challenge you, Jen? You're not lazy, you're efficient.
oh, thank you. Yes, I will use that word instead. um, okay. What about, I'm curious, we had in your intro, I had mentioned human design system. Can you
Yes.
tell us what that is and like how you're using that? And I'm very curious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just love it, and I'd love to do some more feedback for you. Reading. So it's came about in the late 80s. The best way to describe it, it's a fusion, a synthesis of multiple sciences, esoteric and exoteric. So you've got the Chinese I Ching with those little lines that we
Hmm.
stick lines, hexagrams. The Book of Changes, thousands of years old, incredible wisdom. And then blended with Eastern and Western astrology, you got the Kabbalah, chakras, and then you've also got quantum physics, astronomy, genetics, biology, and it's just the most profound system of helping us to know our own selves at a deep, deep level, and to know others, and then to be able to watch the dynamics and be so much more informed. And we'll use like a business or a marketing approach in particular. It can be used really personal, spiritual, business, you name it. I'm studying it all. I'm now entering my fifth year of deep professional studies, sometimes taking as many as 4, 5, 6 classes a week.
Wow.
I'm an investigator. I know that about myself. I'm a 1-3 profile, which is the deep, deep investigator. This is also what's made me good, if you will, or so successful at Facebook all these years, because I will go in and investigate all the details. And then I don't mind learning by trial and error. So I'll just test things out. But what it is based on your date, place, time of birth, and it is a genetic imprint. It shows you your conscious genetic imprint of your strengths, your skills, your natural abilities. And then, unlike astrology, there's also an imprint that we can see about 88 days, but approximately 3 months prior to birth, which shows your unconscious. And so, there's aspects of you that just come out of you. And so, on the business side, one of the things that really lights me up is I do consulting for a small number of folks, because it does take a lot of my individual time. And I will fuse together their social media strategy with this human design system, and helping to really make sure that the right people are in the right roles, and that they have a fully functioning team. There's no gaps in the team, which can be
Wow.
identified through the human design system. It's called a penta. You got 3 to 5 people, and you can see, wow, no wonder we keep failing with our accounting. Nobody on the team is that good at accounting. Maybe somebody is like just forced to do it, but it's not a
Right.
natural skill. So
Right.
what if we just
That would help.
outsourced our accounting? So, but yeah, it just really lights me up. I love it. I love supporting people in a way way that really helps them to get insights about themselves. And one of the key aspects, I think, for your listeners, I think one of I'd say probably the number one takeaway is these body intelligent decisions, because we have been so conditioned to make these head decisions. We talk ourselves into and out of things. An invitation comes across your desk and you're like, you're not feeling any energy on it, but the head's going, oh, but I don't want to say no. I don't want to look good. I want them to like me, or maybe I can make a lot of money, or they need all the chitter chatter that goes on, right? In the monkey mind. But for me, as a generator, 2/3 of the planet are generator types or manifesting generators. And the inner authority, it's called the inner authority, the way in which we make decisions. So for me, it's my gut, my sacral, and I respond best to yes, no questions. People ask me a yes, no question. It's a totally different experience now after many years of these studies. Hearing it through my physical ears from outside of myself when someone asks me a yes, no question. So that's why I have my VA do that, or some other people on my team or close friends. And when I'm struggling with a decision and I just feel into the energy right down in the bottom of my gut. Other folks where it's more they're emotional,
Wait,
yes, dear.
sorry. I need
Go for it.
explanation.
Yes.
I need to ask you a question.
Yes,
I'm unclear. So you're saying you're not good with yes no questions.
I am good.
You are good, but you said your VA will do the yes nos for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe I misspoke. The difference between me sitting trying to make a decision by myself, I know I'm collaborative too. I'm the kind of person that's not designed to work solo all day every day. I need to be around people and I need to interact. So that's a factor. But hearing a yes no question outside of myself, I'm able to tune into the sensation in my gut way differently than if I just look at a yes no question on the screen, or I ask
Ah, okay.
myself it, or I'm
Yeah,
I'm in
okay.
my mind going, do I really want to do this? I don't know. It's like just like that I'm up in my head, and it's a little more different than hearing the yes no question outside of myself by somebody else. That's what I
Got
meant.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's the decision making for the sacral generator types. The most popular decision making uh, body intelligence is what's called the emotional intelligence, the solar plexus, the seat of emotional intelligence. And those folks, and it's about 60% of the world, are not designed to make fast decisions. And you think, Jen, how much pressure there is, like by now, midnight tonight, come on, you have to decide before you leave the
Right.
room.
Yep.
So much pressure to decide
Urgency and
fast.
scarcity. Yes.
Urgency, yeah, and to be spontaneous. But most people need time, at least overnight, and to be able to get in the habit of saying, I'm going to need some time. When do you need to know by? I need to sleep on it. And they feel into where the emotional waves are in their body, and then the clarity emerges. The clarity isn't like in the moment. Maybe for some, like emergency thing or something, but for most, 60+% of folks, they need that time to just wait out the emotional waves. The example I like to give is, let's say somebody invites you for a weekend in Las Vegas, and you're up here on your emotional wave. You're like, whoa, yeah, let's do it. You decide right away, and then kind of later that day or maybe the next morning, you're like a little bit lower on your wave, and you're like, what was I thinking? I don't even like Las Vegas. Oh no, how am I going to get out of this? And it's just kind of
I
like
feel like
the
that's how I live
waves.
my life. Like I'll say yes to a talk. This often happens to me when I say yes to going to an event to give a
Mm.
talk, and then for almost from the moment I've said yes to the day that I give the talk, I'm like, why did I say yes to that? And then I'm miserable, and then I'm usually happy once I give the talk, or I don't know. I feel like I'm in that situation a lot where I'm super feeling it and I'm really excited, and then later I'm like, oh no, like what was I thinking?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. A lot of it too, interestingly, is the transit. So every day the planetary transits make their way around the wheel. That's called a wheel or a mandala with all the different gates. You're like me, you actually have I just took a quick peek at your chart. You and I have very similar designs, human designs, and it is your sacral. So having people ask you yes, no questions, you're also designed to be collaborative. But the waiting out the emotional wave part is like everybody right now on the planet is affected by the background frequency of being a little more sensitive, a little bit more hyper, a little more touchy, a little more moody because
Mm.
of where the planetary transits are, the sun, the moon, Mars, Mercury, Saturn, the whole works in our solar system. The solar plexus is lit up. It's defined right now for everybody until the end of January. So we'll
Okay.
see.
So what happened? I mean, I shouldn't say what happened, that there was like a crisis, but like what was the thing when you started, you dipped your toe into this? Did something happen where you were like, wow, this is real? There's really something to this. Was there a moment?
Yeah, I had my first human design reading around 2003, and it went right over my head. I probably spent maybe 2 hours, an hour and a half with the analyst, and it just seemed like mumbo jumbo to me. I was like, what the heck is he even talking about? I'm sure at the time maybe I had a few takeaways, but the only takeaway I could remember is he said to me, Mari, you have a really busy mind. It's probably hard for you to meditate. And I'm like, yep. And you know what's funny as I look at our charts, you and I have the exact same. It's called abstraction. It's a mind that's very, very busy. It sees in visual pictures, lots of like mosaic of all the things. And you just go through and try to make sense of the past in order to create a better future. So this very visual, busy mind. And so that was then. And then, fast forward over the many, many years, every now and again, it would come into my awareness. My older sister was studying it. She talked to me about it now and again. But then it was a winter solstice of 2020. A dear girlfriend of mine came for a little sleepover at my house in San Diego before I moved to Oregon, and she's very intuitive, and she's reaching into her purse, and she's like, Mari, I don't know why, but I was leaving my house this morning. My intuition just told me I was supposed to bring this book to you, and she showed it to me, and I just like talk about timing. I leapt out of my chair. This is like a real sacral response, a real body intelligence response. My whole body, my arms flew in the air. I'm like, human design, there's books on that, you can study it. And what's really cool, back to when I said about when I first joined Facebook and my new theme was contagion, and my Chiron return, which is around age 50, that was in 2016. My background frequency, the Chiron shifted what's called service. My main one is explanation. I'm born to explain. I'm born to take the complex, simplify it, and explain to people. But then when 50, and I thought, I had been feeling for a few years this lesser, lesser degree of satisfaction with my Facebook career. You know what, Jen? I kept thinking, oh, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. I want to add more value. I want to change people's lives. I want to wake people up. I want to help them transform. I want to help them realize how amazing and brilliant they are and empower them. And so it's like, I can do that with human design, adding it to my social media career.
Wow. Well, your passion for that is absolutely contagious. It's just jumping through the screen here. People who might want to work with you on this, and I know you can't take that many people, but would they find information at marismith.com on this?
Not yet, but the best place to go for my human design is lots of free resources and free trainings and stuff I've done, just introductory classes, is Mari Smith Superstars. .com, marismithsuperstars.com. And that is proudly built on Mighty Networks, because I really wanted to try out the platform. They're great. They're amazing. And so I have grand plans in 2025. I will definitely be introducing a lot more, free and low cost access to the human design knowledge.
All right. Well, in addition to your future things that you're going to be creating with that, is there anything else you're super excited about for 2025?
I sure am. I'm glad you asked. AI. I am in the throes of potentially, possibly, and we'll see by the time this podcast releases. But we'll see. I'll keep you posted. But I'm in deep in discussions with a full service AI agency. And I am looking to, I'm not quite ready to share everything about what that looks like yet because it's so early days yet, but it's going to move fast. It's going to move fast. And so I do use like a little bit of AI, like many people, ChatGPT. I got Google Gemini. Well, I love the Fathom, like yourself, with the Fathom note taker. I can't even have a meeting without my Fathom.
Right.
And, but really deeply, deeply embedding more AI into what I'm doing with all my processes and to leverage and to reach more people. And so that in my courses, maybe different languages, lots of possibilities on the horizon, and bringing the human design into the social media work with the use of AI. So we're at the tip of the iceberg right now, but it is exceedingly exciting. Last fall, I ended a 10-year partnership relationship, which had been a long time coming. And I finally made the decision, took a lot of courage, but at the same time, it has really like created what I feel for me personally is this like blank slate, this reset. It's like hitting the reset button. It's like it's given me a new lease of life. So I'm like, wow, okay, what do I want to create with this new version of Mari?
That is that's really so exciting, and I know that uh, we're going to be following you and to see all this exciting stuff take place. And I'm with you, like on the I'm super so excited about AI, and I use it every
Yeah.
day, and I'm just can't get enough of watching the brilliant use cases. That people are putting into play, and it's just all coming at us so fast. It's in a good way. I mean, obviously there's the bad stuff, but I mean this part of it is terribly exciting to me. So can't wait to see what you do with it,
Awesome.
what I do with it, what we all do with it. And just thank you, Mari. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been really wonderful, and I really appreciate it. And I would love to have you back anytime.
Thank you. This has been a real pleasure for me too. I appreciate it.